Hey everybody, it's Edie and I'm here with my sister Vicki, and today we're talking blood magic. So just a little disclaimer, if blood makes you squeamish or if you are not into blood magic, don't want to have any part of it, then do not watch this video. Go click one of my other videos and check that out, because today we are talking blood magic and we are doing a blood magic spell. So you will see some blood and how I'm using it in my spell. So you have been warned.
You have been.
There have been some things going on with me and just some thoughts and feelings that have been coming up for me, and I really felt the need to do an important, powerful spell. And another YouTuber that I really love, Avalon was talking just briefly about a blood candle that she uses for the year, and it inspired me to create my own blood candle. I do not generally work with blood magic. You have done blood magic before.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
A few times. Yeah, a few times. I don't have anything against it. I've just never felt the need for blood magic, because we're going to talk about it, but it really needs to be for the most serious stuff. And I've just never felt the need to do blood magic before now. But with the things that are coming up, I just felt that I needed something extra potent and extra powerful. So when I learned that January's second moon, the blue moon of January, was going to be the super blood moon, I figured what better time than a blood moon, a super blue blood moon, than to do...
That's a mouthful.
I know, right? Than to do my first blood working. So, the video today is going to be kind of us talking about blood magic, and then at the end you will see the actual spell process. So you'll see us create the candle. You'll see
her create the candle.
Yeah, yeah. But she was standing behind the scenes telling me step by step what to do, because I've never made a candle before.
Or laughing. Yeah, a lot of laughing.
She laughs at me a lot.
It's mutual laughing though.
So yeah, if you stick around till the end of the video, you'll see me making the candle. You'll see the blood going into it, the ingredients that I put into it, the fuck-ups that happened along the way, and some of them did not get filmed. And you'll also see me make the anointing oil to go along with the candle.
And so the anointing oil.
Mm-hmm.
What's your intention with that one? Not like what you put into the spell, but what are you doing with the oil?
Oh, so I wanted to make a pillar candle.
Right.
But this is my first candle, so I decided that it'd probably be better to just start with a glass jar candle, a jar candle, that I could top off, fix, do whatever I needed to do, put a lid on it to make it burn better, whatever. So I originally had planned on making a pillar candle and anointing the candle on each burn.
Okay.
Just to kind of like recharge it, give it even more power, even more energy. But I'm probably not going to be able to touch it every time, so I will probably use the dropper. Drop a drop or 3 drops, because I still want to annoy the candle. Yes, I'm going to tap it.
I'm sure it's going to annoy the shit out of it.
So I want to anoint the candle.
Okay.
Each time I use it, just to, you know, supercharge it, recharge it, and energize it even more every time I burn it.
So it's an anointing oil for the candle.
Yeah,
not for you.
I'm definitely not going to anoint myself. Right. Because...
Well, that's a thing.
Yeah. No, I know it's a thing.
Yeah.
I wish I felt comfortable enough to anoint myself with this stuff, but I have super sensitive skin, and I have a fear of having an allergic reaction. So...
Just an allergic reaction.
Just an allergic reaction, yes. So, I won't anoint myself with that, because I know your skin can be sensitive and you can have a reaction to essential oils, and yeah, I can't take that chance. So, yeah, it's for the candle, not for me.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Just felt like they might need to know that.
Yeah.
You start talking about anointing oil and people think, oh,
yeah, no, I'm not gonna. If I use anointing oils, I would absolutely use the one that I made tonight. But and I would show you the products, the things that we made, but they are still in the kitchen. The candle is still setting up And I don't feel like going to get the oil. And I want to show you both at the same time. So once they are fully set, I'll come back on. I'll probably be by myself. She'll probably be gone. But I'll come back on and show you the finished set candle and the anointing oil after.
They are looking really good, though.
Yeah.
Looks like we've done a very good job with them.
Mm-hmm.
You did good.
Good job. Did good. It's good.
Yay! Despite the debacle with wax.
It's good. So the candle that we made, I'll talk about it as we're making it, but it's a mix of beeswax and soy wax. And what?
You're good.
And a whole lot of other crap that I threw into it.
We're witches. It's whatever you've got.
Pretty much.
You just use it, you know.
Whatever
Go
you
with
got
it.
on hand.
Make it work. Improvise.
Make it work. Folk magic, man.
Yep. That's good.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's the most powerful.
Yeah.
You're just like, fuck, what
do I got?
What, we're pulling out the cabinet. Yep, that'll work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my intention for the candle is health and healing. So the ingredients that I used in the candle were the beeswax, the soy wax, and then lavender essential oil, sandalwood essential oil, dried lavender, dried rosemary, pink Himalayan salt, and amethyst. Those are the ingredients that symbolize healing and health for me. I know traditionally they may or may not fall into that category. I really don't give a shit about tradition. I know I use what works for me and what my personal associations are. So those are my personal associations, and it smells really fucking good.
Well, that's the sandalwood and the rosemary.
Lavender. Yeah. The sandalwood and lavender made it smell really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was the intent behind the candles. All right, so let's talk about blood magic.
For the fourth time.
In general, blood magic in general. So I've kind of told you about my spell. I will actually be charging my candle in the light of the full blue blood moon and using it on that night. So.
And this is a full year candle, too.
It is a full year candle, so I will be burning this candle. I'll probably be taking a healing bath because my intention is healing and good health. I'll probably take a healing bath on the full moon every month and burn the candle throughout my bath time and anoint it and all that. So this is going to be a year-long candle. I'll burn it for the entire year, probably.
Now, why are you choosing to use blood in a healing candle?
The reason I chose to use blood in this specific spell was because I feel like I need extra powerful energy. And I am in good health. Mm-hmm. My blood is my essence. It is everything about me. Every minuscule, minute atom of my being is in my DNA, in my blood. So, what better way to ensure and promote health and healing than to use my own blood?
Your own healthy blood.
My own healthy blood. You know, going forward. So, because I wanted this to be extra powerful, extra potent. I could have just made the candle and put my intention into it. But I feel like the blood is giving my full energy. I am giving every bit of myself into the intention of this spell because I want it to be that powerful.
Yep, and that goes to one of the uses of blood magic, is for health. Because that is, especially if you're using healthy blood. Now, if you have a sickness, probably not something you're going to want to use in your spell work is blood at that time.
Correct.
But it is one of the really good uses for blood in spell work. Not the only.
No.
Matters of the heart. I'm not...
Oh, God.
Okay. I am not promoting it. I am giving other uses.
We do not recommend the use of blood magic in matters of the heart. Do we?
Why are you asking me this question?
You know why I'm asking you this question.
Yes, but you know the answer.
No, we do not recommend the use of blood magic in love spells.
Okay.
Are you really going to say that you agree with the use of blood magic?
What I'm going to say is that if you are dumb enough...
Oh, God.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not.
I'm going to stop.
What you're going to say is...
Everything comes at a cost. If you choose to use that route, you need to understand the repercussions of your choices.
There will be repercussions, let me just tell you.
Yes, and that's kind of what I mean by that, because if everybody says, "Oh, love spell, blood," yes, it is a very powerful tool to use. It's likely going to work
Way too well.
but in a way that you probably are not counting on. So
Right.
I bring it up to say discretion. Mm-hmm. Be careful about when you choose to use blood, because it does... If you're not using it for health and you're not using it to make yourself better, you really need to be aware of the possible outcomes. Mm-hmm. And that they can manifest in ways that you are not prepared for.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about fireballs and, demons, and I'm not talking about stuff like that. I'm talking about the person that you think that you love is now obsessed with you and you have to kill yourself off, change your name, move to a different country, and then they're still going to hunt you down kind of stuff. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do decide to use blood magic in love spells, I do not recommend it. But just know that just because you are using the spell to bring you together with someone or to keep you together with someone, that may very well manifest in ways you are not expecting, not prepared for, and did not want. So instead, a prime example is, let's just say you're using blood magic as a binding to bring you together with someone.
Let's even say it's your spouse.
Yeah, even someone you're already married to, and you're not even having problems in your marriage. You just want to solidify that union and make sure you stay together forever, and that you're always, in love and together. Using that blood in that spell could actually taint the relationship, because the spouse could become possessive, obsessed, overprotective in a very harmful way.
And forever. So that's the other thing, I think, that when we get into a relationship, we say, "Oh, I'm going to be with that person forever." The problem is that you're not necessarily thinking about what that actually means. Right. Forever is not just this lifetime.
Right.
Forever is whatever lies on the other side. Mm-hmm. And when you bind yourself to someone for forever...
It's forever.
It's not for this lifetime. It's not until death do you part. It is you have just screwed them in the next time around. In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a thing that just can't be, at least not that we've found. It can't be easily undone.
Nope.
And good luck.
No.
Good luck.
Yeah, and really, if you're meant to be together, you will be together. And sometimes being happy means that you're not together. And if you really love the person, you would want them to be happy regardless of whether or not they're with you. And if you do this sort of spell work and add the blood magic in on top of that, binding spells have their own set of consequences. But when you add blood on top of that, you are then fucking with their free will and the ability for them to possibly be happy with their eternal happiness.
Yeah. Yeah. So blood has its use in magic, and it's got a lot of great uses when you do need something powerful. But again, you really need to make sure that you understand the power of blood
and the consequences.
The consequences of your actions. Because when you made the candle tonight, you went into this knowing, I'm using my own blood, what that means, and what that responsibility that comes with it, and respecting it for what it is.
Yeah, and it wasn't something that I just jumped into. Like, I've been thinking about doing a healing spell for several weeks now, and then the inspiration came to me through Avalon for the blood candle, but then I still did research. Like, it wasn't just like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea, I'll just do a blood spell. No, that's not how it went down. I did my research and thought about it very seriously and whether or not I wanted to do a blood spell and for what purpose and, you know, all of that.
Yep. And have been closely aware and, you know, with me on mine and through my journey with the use of blood.
Yeah.
And my magical stuff. So
right.
You this has been in your realm of making sure you know, she was well aware of what she was getting into before she did it. Mm-hmm. Multiple ways, research, experience with mine, the stories that you...
the horror stories.
that she's gotten from other people's experiences. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of where we're going with that part of this is just, you really need to be careful when you use it.
Yep.
It is a great tool.
It is a great tool, but it should only be used in the most dire of circumstances or utmost importance, you know, life or death kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You know, health, protection.
Binding and love spells are probably, I mean, of all of the things that you could do in those realms, if you felt like you just had to do those spells, the use of blood in those would be something that I personally would say is not a good idea.
Yeah, I would agree. Not a good idea.
Not a good idea. If that's where you think you need to take it, then you really need to look at your intention. Mm-hmm. You need to look inside and you need to see why you think that going that route is a good idea.
Yeah, what's your motivation behind that?
Yeah. Are you trying to keep somebody?
Yeah.
And then is that really love? And is that really what you're looking for?
Right.
Both for them and for yourself.
Yeah, and is that really going to bring them happiness and joy and love?
Yep.
Yeah, or is that going to make them stuck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And take away their free will?
Yep. Health issues, totally different thing. You know, using blood magic for health, not only for your own health, but for your family's health, your children's health. Mm-hmm. That's where blood magic can be very powerful and extremely appropriate. Mm-hmm. Blood relatives in particular.
Yeah.
You know, your grandmother, your mom, your kids, whatever. You already share blood with them. Mm-hmm. You know, so the use of that blood can help in those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. Absolutely great use of them, of blood magic. Still something to approach with caution. Still something that you need to be aware of, and you also need to check your intentions while you're doing it.
Yep.
Because again, you're using something that's very powerful, and if your intentions are not in the right place,
it could go wrong.
It could go wrong. And then you wind up with a kid that's obsessed with you. Your own child.
Yeah.
You know, that never wants to leave the nest and grow up and all that because you didn't fully think through your good intentions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think there needs to be a lot of thought behind it and a lot of thought behind the motivation for it and what possible outcomes could happen, both good and bad, because there will be good and bad associated. Well, there doesn't always have to be good and bad, but when you are working for someone else, when you're doing working on someone else, for someone else, because of someone else, regarding someone else, there is always the potential for something bad to go, or for it to manifest in a way that you had not intended.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because bad, I don't think would be.
No, not bad. That's not the right word, but
unintentional.
Yeah.
Consequences.
Definitely. Yeah. And I also think that blood magic could be used, a very powerful tool to be used for healing past issues. Mm-hmm. But again, you really need to be aware of the consequences because if you're using blood spells, blood magic in a releasing spell. Let's just say you want to sever ties with your mother. You have a terrible relationship with your mother. You don't want to have anything to do with her. You want to sever all ties with her. You could do a blood magic spell because you share DNA with her. DNA is the most powerful bond you can have with someone. So therefore you could do a blood magic spell to sever all ties. But you need to understand that relationship will never be the same. You will not be able to rebuild any sort of foundational relationship from that point again. So let's just say you're pissed off at your mom right now because you've got all this shit from childhood, but 5 years from now you do a lot of work on yourself and you're in a different place and you want to have some sort of a relationship with her on a different level. Probably not going to happen. Because you will have severed that bond.
Yep. Yeah, there's no going back. That's kind of the other thing with blood magic, at least in my opinion, in my experience.
Yes.
Once you've used it, whatever you're going for, whether it seems like the spell completely failed or whether it seems like it completely worked in the moment, there is no take back. You know, I mean, you can go online and you can find ways to fix or undo binding spells and take away curses, and you can do all of that. But the reality of blood magic is once it's done, it's done.
Yes.
It's like that blood has left your body and it's gone out there. You can't put it back.
No.
There is no bringing that back. So you really need to consider and make sure you're ready for it. And make sure that you are going to be at a point where you're walking into this knowing I can never go back to where I am now.
Right. Because ultimately blood is your essence. It is your star stuff, your makeup, your soul, your essence. It is all contained within your blood, within your DNA. And so when you put that much of yourself, even a single drop of blood, when you put that much of yourself into a spell, something is going to happen. You are going to manifest your intention. It just may not come to pass in the way you had expected, and you can't go back from that. You cannot rewind, redo, undo, and say, oh, that's not what I meant. You know? So
well, you can.
Oh, I mean, you can.
You absolutely can.
It's just not going to do you any good.
Yeah, it's not going to work. And that, you know, this advice is coming from our collective personal experience on this one. So this is not just the reading and our own opinion. Well, it is our own opinion, but it is based in...
It's our opinion based on experience.
Based on experience. There is no take-backs on it.
No.
None. You just got to deal with consequences.
Yeah, and also, if you do blood magic, and let's just say you want to do that love spell, and you decide that, yes, you absolutely want to do that blood spell, or that love spell using blood magic, and then 20 years later, you decide you don't want to be in that relationship anymore, you don't want to be with that person anymore, and you want to move on, just know that it's not going to be that simple. You're not going to be able to just break up, get a divorce, and move on, or whatever the case may be. That bond is there through blood. So, in turn, doing another blood magic spell to break the previous blood magic spell may not work. It may not work. And it may not work the way you want it to. It may not come to pass at all. It could take a really long time. There are...
Results may vary.
Yeah, results may vary. So just know that doing one blood magic spell to undo a previous blood magic spell, probably not going to work. Or at least not in the way you want it to, or as quickly as you want it to.
Results may vary. Yeah. So I think another good use of a blood magic, just to give a positive here, because we're giving a lot of don't do's.
Yeah.
You know, another good...
But I think that's important that we give the don't do's.
Yeah, yeah. Another one would be for personal transformation.
Oh, yeah.
So let's say you've reached a point at your life where you are not the person that you were 2 years ago, and you are ready to start your new path, and you want to do a spell for that transformation, to say, hey, I'm open to transforming, and I'm open to my gifts and insight and all of these things.
Now this is keep in mind, this is for a positive transformation.
Yes.
You have healed, you have grown, you have evolved, you have, come to a better place within yourself and within your life, and you are ready to do a massive internal, external, transformative, moving into the next phase,
right,
kind of thing.
That would be a good use of blood in a spell based around that. Now, again, you need to make sure that your intentions are in the right place. You need to make sure that you fully understand what you're saying and be extremely specific about how you go about doing things. But using blood in that instance to say, hey, this is me releasing the old, so that I can be new. Those kinds of things. That would be a very powerful use and a good positive use for blood in spell work.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So we've talked a lot about like creating a binding spell or creating the, severing ties spell, and think a lot of things like that come to fire for me. So you're burning it away. The releasing spell you would burn away. To bind, you would
to bind or unbind.
To bind.
Okay.
You would put the things together. For the healing spell, I've put it into a candle that I'm going to continually burn and connect to that energy of good health and, continued good health. So I'll be tapping into that energy again. How would someone go about doing that transformative spell kind of thing?
Just eyeballing it. I eyeball a lot of things.
Of course, we eyeball everything.
Yeah.
Because obviously... Go ahead. Obviously, you have to create your own spell. I mean, you don't have to create your own spell. You can Google it and find some spell that someone else has written. But in my opinion, the most powerful spells are the ones that we create on our own.
Always.
Doesn't matter if the words are correct or rhyming, as long as your intention is expressed. That's ultimately what it comes down to for me. So a very powerful spell could be something as simple as you sitting in front of a candle and speaking your intention into the flame, or, writing it down and then burning it. It doesn't have to be elaborate. But I think the most powerful spells are the ones that we create, the ones that just kind of come to us intuitively. I feel that I need to use this herb or this crystal or, whatever. Right. I need to burn something. I need to create something, whatever it is.
Yep. Yes.
So, ultimately, I think you have to create your own spell.
You don't have to. You should.
You don't have to. Right. You should. You should create your own spell. So, any idea that we throw out may sound great to you, and run with it. Take it and make it your own. Absolutely. But whatever comes to you, whatever you feel is the right thing to do, that's the path that you should take. Yeah.
Do that.
But do you have any suggestions?
I mean, because so most of my spells involve earth or earth nature of some way, shape, or form, and somehow every damn one of them. So for a transformational spell, for me, I mean, I can definitely see the use of fire. So off the top of my head, and again, this is just because we're just sitting here talking. So without any thought further, I would be using earth in some way, shape, or form. And I think that in transforming, I would probably use the blood to anoint something that I saw representing the part of me that I was letting go, the part of me that I was growing out of. And then for me, I would be using the blood to anoint that, whatever that representation was, be it a drawing or an item of clothing, whatever. And then I would be burying it.
Okay.
I would be using crossroads or down by a river or an ocean or up on top of a mountain underneath a tree, that where the tree symbolized the regrowth and the rebirth. And then putting the old under it, to show that building off of the ashes of what was once. Right. Or even planting a tree or bush or something on top of wherever I chose to bury that particular item.
Right.
And then let it return to the ground. Let that energy go back to where it needed to be. For me, that would be just spitballing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would be where I would take it. Right.
And see, I automatically kind of go to fire.
Right.
So...
Fire.
So I automatically go to fire, and I would start probably in a very similar way, where I would use a drop of blood to anoint a photo of myself or a drawing of myself or whatever it would be, the old version of myself. So let's just say,
Use an alcoholic as an example, because that really illustrates that one good.
Yeah. So like before and after. Yeah. So for me, let's just say back before I had gone through this whole self-love pilgrimage. Couldn't think of the word. Like a photo of myself from back then when I hated myself, when I couldn't find a single thing about myself that I liked. Find a photo of myself from that time, anoint it with the drop of blood, and then I would burn it and turn it to ash. I would transform it into the ash, and then it's kind of that whole phoenix rising again thing, that you have to go to ash in order to be reborn. And so letting the ash go into the universe, so the energy would then go into the universe to be then transformed into the new version. Yeah.
And I mean, I think, that's, obviously you see the elemental, representations here, because that's, we both have that, in our practices, is the importance of the elements. But, thinking from, we've got fire, there's earth. If you're a person that's drawn to the element of water, you could use a river to dispose of said item. If you are a person that is drawn to air, you could use the wind to carry bits and pieces of this particular item, or and however you chose to manifest that. But for elements, those would be 4 examples of how you could positively incorporate that into a positive use of blood magic.
Yeah. So now let's talk about kind of how to go about it.
Precautions,
how to be safe.
Because safety third.
Safety third.
Safety third.
Yeah, so for me, I know you're going to have a different take on the whole safety protection thing. Okay, so for me, there are kind of 2 aspects to the safety and protection when using blood magic. There is the physical, health-wise, actual safety of blood magic. And then there's also like the spiritual, magical, protective side.
Okay.
So for physical safety and protection, always using sterilized items, alcohol, the little diabetic pinprick needles that come with the caps that are sterile, that are one use only. You prick yourself one time, you put the cap back on, you dispose of the needle.
Those are nice to have.
Very nice to have. Yeah. So, there's that whole sterile aspect of things. Like, everything needs to be sterile, clean, sanitized. Wash your hands before you begin. Make sure your space is clean. Make sure the items that you're using are clean and sterilized. Alcohol, cotton balls, that kind of thing. Wiping the area with alcohol before you prick yourself. Wiping the area with alcohol after you prick yourself. Washing your hands. Making sure you clean up any blood. You don't want blood just sitting around. You want to make sure that all of the blood is cleaned up. So there's...
And before you go further, because I think that's something that you haven't said yet, but I think that's probably something that's pretty important to mention pretty early on.
The use of blood magic does not mean using an excessive amount of blood.
In any way, shape, or form. It means you need
a single drop.
A drop can be achieved by a diabetic needle. It can be achieved by a pinprick. It can be achieved by a very small little poke with your anthem. It does...
Athame.
Okay, you can say it like that too. It does not mean that you need to hurt yourself.
Right.
So when she says clean up your blood, she is not saying that you should have spilt a substantial amount of blood, because that should never happen.
Nope.
That is not what you need to do. If that is what you think you need to do, then you need to go back and look at why you're looking at this use. Because it's not a good idea.
No.
You totally missed the point.
Yeah, it isn't. It always needs to be a minuscule, like a single drop. Never needs to be more than a single drop. Because that single drop contains the essence of everything in that drop. Kind of like the whole, the seed is the tree. The thing, the nut. The seed of a tree contains the entire tree.
Oh, okay. Boy, you totally were. That's not.
That's
okay.
exactly what I said the first time.
The seed of the tree.
The seed of the tree. The seed of the tree contains the whole tree.
Yes.
And so within that tiny seed is the essence of the mighty tree.
Yes.
You don't have to have the mighty tree in order to have the full power. All you need is a seed.
Right.
So a single drop is plenty.
Right. Yes.
Even a tiny drop.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to mix a little bit of water with that tiny drop because it's not enough to come out of your blood. Like the blood does not come out of your body. There may not.
Your body doesn't want to give it up.
No, there may not even be a full drop, and that's fine as long as you have a single dot.
Mm-hmm. And again, depending on how much you need, because if you're using a cloth, and you, like in your case where it didn't want to, you could just wipe it on. Sometimes you don't even need to. You don't even need that full drop.
Right. If you have a dot,
right.
if you get a dot to come to the surface, that's enough.
Yeah. And one other precaution that I think is worthwhile to mention is know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this for those that may be on medications, particularly blood thinners.
Yes, absolutely.
If you are on a blood thinner, if you are on a medication, you need to make sure that you understand how you bleed when you're injured, because blood thinners and pricking yourself results in a lot more blood than you needed.
Yeah.
And that can be dangerous, which is, of course, missing the point again.
Right.
If you're a woman and you are on blood thinners, but you want to use blood magic, then maybe look at menstrual blood. And I know that's going to make some people very uncomfortable.
It's going to make people squeamish, but menstrual blood has its own... Like, it is blood, so you could absolutely use it as blood for blood magic.
Yes.
But menstrual blood has a whole nother layer, I think, of possibility.
It does. It does have a whole lot more possibility. But in the event that you are on blood thinners and you want to go that route, that is an option. Now, you've got to do some self-check-in to see if that's an option that you can deal with. Because some of us, yes, we get it, but going there is a whole different ballgame.
Right.
But yes, you need to know yourself. You need to know your medications. You need to know how your body responds.
And the same, I think, with anemia.
Anemia, yeah.
People who are anemic or have any sort of issue with your blood. Maybe your blood doesn't clot. Maybe your blood clots too much. Anytime there is an issue with the way your body functions and the blood flow, these are things that you need to take into consideration as well.
Autoimmune diseases, and I'm not just referring to AIDS. Yes, you are using, if you are a person that has an autoimmune disease, and I'm going to use AIDS as an example. Yes, you are using that spell for yourself, and the intent is for it not to come in contact with anybody else, and yes, the AIDS virus can exist outside, blah, 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 but you are putting your blood on something, and you need to be aware of what that means. And again, you're using, in some ways, blood that is not necessarily healthy blood in a spell.
Right.
So you, again, know yourself. Know your blood, know how you respond before you ever go down this road.
Yeah.
And those are pretty important on when you start thinking about blood magic. Okay, check your boxes.
Yeah.
Before you ever research it any further.
I agree. Yeah. So that's the physical aspect of safety for me. Do you have any other physical aspects of safety?
I mean, obviously you got overkill on that. with the germ phobia and the, sterilizing everything and so forth. The diabetic needles, I will say, is a very nice to have because it does make life a little bit easier. If it's not necessary.
No, a regular needle, like a sewing needle,
will do the trick.
Will do the job, but it needs to be sterilized.
Just make sure you sterilize the shit out of your stuff and make sure you understand how you've sterilized it.
Yeah. So now let's talk about the spiritual, magical, protective aspects. I was in the safety of my own home. My home is highly protected. the items that I used reside in my home. They were cleansed before I began. I smudged them, I cleansed them. Energetically, they were sterilized as far as I was concerned. So there was that aspect of it, but also the protective aspect of it. Because you are using your blood, there are energetic and magical properties that go along with that kind of make you susceptible in certain aspects, depending on what you're doing with it. What I was doing with mine, I don't think I was susceptible to anything negative. But in using blood in your magic, you could be opening yourself up to potential negative energies, I think. Do you agree? Disagree?
I disagree.
Okay. Why?
And this is a personal opinion on that one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot, particularly in witchcraft, there is a lot of talk, reading, spells, information on protection, level upon level upon level upon level.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to sit back and wonder, it's not good, it's not bad, it's about balance, right?
Right.
We exist in the gray.
Yeah.
What are you protecting yourself from?
Well, like I said, here in my home environment and with my particular spell,
But even outside of that.
if I'm using blood magic and I prick my finger and I excrete my essence,
Mm-hmm.
my essence is therefore vulnerable.
To what?
Negative energies, bad vibes, whatever you want to call it. So, for me, I'm in the safety and protection of my own home, which has a barrier. It has protection around it. So, I'm in my little protective bubble. I personally would not do blood magic in a public environment with people I didn't know, because you just don't know what kind of energies are going to be able to seep into that.
I mean, I agree with not doing blood magic, and I think for me that the agreeing on that one has to do more with the spell work itself.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Being able to actually get into the mindset. And you might end up editing some of this out because this is probably not the best opinion to be putting out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think sometimes we overprotect, and sometimes we're putting ourselves in our bubble
Mm-hmm.
to protect from everything else, when magic is really the realm of things that we don't understand anyways.
Oh yeah, I
So
totally
sometimes
agree.
you've got to come out of that bubble
I totally
and say,
agree.
okay, hey, what am I really protecting from? If I am in say I want to do blood magic and I want to do it outside,
Mm-hmm.
which for me would be the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I need to cast circle? Why do I need to be protected?
Well,
Nature itself is providing that protection.
right, and if you feel that way, and if that's what you subscribe to, then yeah, I totally agree with that. I would not necessarily cast circle, even if I was outside. If I was in, let's just say we're on the beach and we're secluded. Depending on the spell I was doing would determine how much protection I felt I needed. You know? So, for certain spells, I would absolutely cast circle. I'm not Wiccan, but I would cast that protective barrier.
Right.
For other spells, like for this one, if I had decided to do this on the beach, I probably would not have cast circle.
Right.
I would have done things for myself to protect myself energetically from any negative energies that could potentially, I'm not saying that it would, but, you know, just a quick little, my essence is protected, my spirit is protected in all magical workings in this moment. You know, it would be something like that. For what I did tonight, I wouldn't feel the need to cast circle, put a ring of salt, build this protective, energetic barrier.
Right.
Given a different spell, using blood magic, I would absolutely feel the need to cast a protective circle.
I guess that's probably what it is to me is the spell. So if you're dabbling in magic that is of a darker nature, not necessarily blood or otherwise,
right?
Doesn't matter. The blood doesn't.
Yeah.
If you're on
blood
the darker
is neither here
spectrum,
or there with the darker spectrum.
Then yeah, because you are actually using that darker side of things, which is going to say, hey, darker stuff, come play.
Right.
So I don't know that it's so much about... I just think that there's a lack of understanding in what protection is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because how are you supposed to put up a barrier to protect? What are you protecting from?
Right.
I mean, really, if you're trying to protect your house from a robber,
Mm-hmm.
are you going to put up a glass door?
Right. Right. No, I totally
you need
agree.
to know what it is that you're protecting from, not just a salt barrier because somebody said salt was protection. Protection from what?
Right. Yeah, I totally agree.
You know?
You know, and again, I think it comes down to the type of spell that you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, blood or not, it comes down to the type of spell you're doing. But even more so when you're using blood magic, because it is such powerful magic.
Right.
It is your essence. It is your soul, your star stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so, like I said, I was in the protection of my home. I did not say any form of protection tonight. I didn't feel the need to.
Right.
However, if I was doing a different spell that could have been on the darker side, let's just say I was doing a binding spell.
Bad idea.
Bad idea. Yes. If I was doing a binding spell, I would protect myself. I would protect myself energetically because I am pulling in things that I am not even aware of in doing that spell.
Right.
And so I think, especially with blood magic, there needs to be a protective element to that. You need to wear a protective crystal, do a cast circle, put salt around, whatever it is that is protective for you.
But I think that you also need to understand what you're protecting from.
Yeah.
Because that is
Agreed.
so often seems to be missed in everything that you read. And it's one of those things that as I'm reading, you know, and when I first started looking at stuff, it's protect. What am I protecting from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can't tell me to put a salt ring. Like I said, you can't tell me to put a salt ring down to protect myself when I don't know what it is that I'm supposed to be protecting from.
Right. And sometimes you don't know what you're protecting from. So in my case, anytime that I'm doing something for protective purposes, like when I did the protective barrier around my house, there were specific things I knew I was protecting from.
Right.
And when I did my barrier, that's what I was protecting from.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of a binding spell where I'm on the beach and I'm using blood magic, I don't necessarily know what I'm protecting from, but I know I'm protecting from negativity. So if that's all that I put out there that I'm intended to be protected from, then I'm protected from all negativity on any realm, any plane.
Right.
You know, whatever negativity may come at me, some actual person on the beach coming in, you know, whatever the case may be, even if I don't know what it is, I'm protected from negativity.
Right, but see, even in that, even that generalization is something.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I think you
Which
have to have
just
something.
like your spell and your intentions. I think with protection is the same thing. You've got to put something. It can't be, I need protection.
Yeah. Oh no, I totally agree.
You know.
Yeah, you have to know what you're protecting yourself from.
And I just think there's so little information about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And everything you read.
That's another.
Just protect yourself. Just
yeah.
protect
If you want us to talk more about this, like to do a whole video about protection and kind of the reason why for protection, not just I need protection, then leave a comment down below and we will do another discussion about protection specifically.
It's kind of frustrating, like when you're starting, because that's all you read.
Mm-hmm.
Protect. Use sage, smudge. Use this, smudge. Protect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like for me, even if I don't know what it is, like if I've just got this funky vibe and I can't quite put my finger on it, then I will say, please remove and protect me from the funky vibe.
Right.
You know, at least I've got the funky vibe.
Yeah,
I know what I'm
right.
You know, protecting from.
Yeah. It's just how do you put intention
Mm-hmm.
when you don't have words, or not necessarily even words, because it's not about the words, but your intention is manifest by knowing where to project it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You can't manifest intention if you just are sitting there circling.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you definitely need to know what you're protecting from. So, you know,
to an extent.
To an extent. So, and if you're not sure, you can just say protection from all negativity in all ways, on all planes, in all realms. You know, whatever wording works for you. That's kind of where I go with it, because I figure that covers all my bases.
Right. Yep. But also keep in mind when you're protecting yourself, if you are one of those that is a bit more paranoid and you go into things... Yes, but even in spell work, if you go and you make your circle and you say, I want protection from negativity, I want protection from the green man in the sea, I want protection from the mountain above me, I want to make sure the world doesn't fall around me. At some point, you've just put yourself into a glass bubble.
Yeah.
your spell's not going to work. Mm-hmm. Because you've just basically blocked out everything that you kind of needed for the spell.
Yeah. Yeah. So even just a generalized protection from negativity, protection from harm, protection from illness, protection from danger, protection from unwanted repercussions. I don't know if you can really protect from that, yeah.
Because that is spell work.
Yeah,
sometimes.
True. But you know what I mean, like that you need to have
something.
Yeah.
Something.
So for me tonight, I was in the protection of my own home, so I didn't feel the need to say any other protective words or intention. I didn't set an intention before I began. I was in my own home. I just wanted to do my spell. I just got to work. Had I been out and about, had I been in a park, had I been in a public place, I would have at least, because I was doing a very positive spell, I would have still at least done some protective, energetic work. If I was doing something a bit darker, then, oh hell yeah, there would have been salt, there would have been sage, there would have been protection elements involved. Because you could get some unwanted juju when you're doing that kind of work.
Well, when you're asking to work with darker things, you get to work with darker things.
Right, and they're not always friendly.
I would say chaotic would be a better...
Yeah.
Because it's not so much that they're not friendly, they just are what they are.
Which doesn't always end up well.
Yeah. Not always what we want, but it is what it is,
Yeah, and if you're not willing to take that on, then you shouldn't be doing that work.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's just the nature of, again, making sure your intention and know what you're walking into. But yes, if you decide to play with something on the darker realm, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because that's not it at all.
Right.
Just saying you need to protect yourself, and you need to recognize that you are actually engaging in that. So to put
you're inviting them in.
Yeah, to put up your protection and say, hey, I'm going to protect myself from all negative or all dark things. Let's say you're on the beach and you want to protect yourself from all the dark things and all the dark energies, and you word it like that. Well, guess what? You just kind of screwed yourself.
Yeah, you just really just said, fuck you. No darkness around me. Oh, by the way, dark energies, could I by chance use you now?
Yeah.
You basically shit on them and said, now that I've shit on you, can I use you?
Yeah. And please come into the circle that I said, or circle space, whatever you decide to do. Please come in here, but I said you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, so just be aware of that.
Yeah. And I do think that that's another thing, is I think that all of us, when you're on your path and you start with magic, you find your niche, you find your spells that you are drawn to, you find that direction. And I think that when you trust yourself, when you're ready to step into that realm of blood magic.
Or if you're willing to step into that.
Right.
Because for some people, it's just a hell no. Never going to do it, no need for it, don't like it, will not participate.
Right, which is perfectly fine for them.
Absolutely. Because I was at that point until a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I think that that's it, is just at some point you've got to trust yourself. If you are the type that knows that that's not for you, you see it as bad, you see it as no good can ever come, then that's fine. Do you. If it's something that you're contemplating, make sure that you've done the research. Make sure you've talked to people that have dabbled in it, that kind of understand it. Get multiple opinions, multiple examples of how it went, what they did, how they felt, what went right, what went wrong,
what would
good,
they
the
do
bad,
differently, what would they continue to do, what would they do more of, what would they do less of.
Yeah. And then take time to develop the spell. That's really, I think, for me, the key with that one. Is the spell itself. Whether you have taken something that is half drawn up from the internet and made it for your own purposes, or you've designed this spell from scratch. Whichever way you go, take the time with it.
Yeah.
Don't cut corners.
No.
Don't think I pulled this off the internet, therefore it's got to be right.
It's got to be good.
No. You need to read it. You need to make sure it resonates with you. You need to make sure that you agree with every aspect, which includes every single ingredient.
And every word that is said, because words have a lot of power.
Yep.
You know, so if you're speaking an incantation and you feel like, oh, that's not the right word, or, oh, that gives me funky feeling, then change it. Don't use it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That you got an incantation in a different language and you don't speak that language, don't do it.
Don't use that.
Don't do it just because the internet says it translates a certain way.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that's really what it says or that you're going to be able to pronounce it correctly.
Correct. Yeah.
So just really take the time with the spell. And if that means that you have to delay doing the spell for a month or 2 months or 3 months or 4 months, whatever, take the time.
Yep.
When you're ready and when the spell's ready, you'll get to do it. Don't rush it.
Right. And I would also say, don't take this lightly and don't just jump into it.
Yeah.
I would say, don't just decide to do blood magic one day and go, that night do a blood magic spell. I think you need to really give it some thought and, like you said, be prepared and don't take it lightly.
Yeah. It is serious magic. And don't do it because you think it's cool.
Yeah. Oh God, no. Oh,
or it's the trend, or that's there's stuff on the internet right now about blood magic and how cool it is and how powerful it is and how awesome it is. All of that can be true, but don't do it for any of those reasons.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean it's right for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Know yourself.
Yeah.
Know yourself. And if you aren't
then don't
do it.
Yeah. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no.
Yep.
I think that's it. Yeah. I think we've covered everything, or at least we tried to. We rambled a lot, so we might have missed some stuff, but I think we did a pretty good job. So if you want to stick around and see the making of the candle and the anointing oil, I'm going to add it here at the end of the video. I did not empower the candle itself yet because the candle is not complete. I will probably do that off camera. I did, in making the candle, I did charge each individual item before I put it into the wax. But as for charging the candle itself and actually empowering the candle, I have not done that yet because the candle is still not set. We still need to pour some more wax in there and let it settle and do a few other things. So I will probably charge the candle the night of the full moon, and that will not be on the video because that is a very private spell and the intention behind it is very personal and private, so that will not be on the video. But you will see the making of the candle and the ingredients that I used. If you have any questions about the ingredients that I used or why I chose those items, please leave it in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer anything that I can. If you have any questions about blood magic, you can leave those in the comments below or send me a PM because I know some people are probably not comfortable talking about that in public. It's a very private matter. I think blood magic is very private and personal.
Yes.
Hence the reason I'm okay with showing the making of the candle, but I am not okay showing my incantation and my intention into the candle. I've said that it's for healing, but there's a lot more wrapped up into that I'm not going to talk about on camera. So, yeah, if you want to ask questions, but you don't want to do it publicly, just send me a private message. You can private message me on YouTube, on Facebook.
All of the technologies.
Yeah, all the technologies. So I'm okay with that too. Or you can leave a comment down below. If you have questions about anything that we've done on the video today, leave it in the comments down below.
And there was no blood magic used in the ointment.
In the oil. Correct. No, there was no blood used in the oil because I felt like the blood will be contained within the candle. And so therefore it is not exposed, because having blood just out and about and exposed is not something I want to do. I wanted it to be very hygienic and clean. So I'm not okay with having blood like on the outside of the candle jar, not even up on the rim, which you'll see in the video. My blood drop actually did not go into the candle to begin with, and I smeared it on the rim. But for me, I just can't. It's just not hygienic. So I ended up cleaning it off with alcohol, and we went around a different way to get the blood into the candle, which you'll see. But because the oil is still so active, I'm going to be touching the oil. I'm going to be using the oil. I won't be touching the candle in the same way. So the blood can go into the candle, but I felt for me, the blood could not go into the oil. That's your call. It's not hygienic. having blood around is just, I don't think it's smart. There are some people who will use dried blood. There's a way to like smear the blood on wax paper or whatever it is and allow it to dry so that you can have it for later use. That's not something I'm cool with. I know it is.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's an option.
And there are several options, but again, you'll need to look those up because that's not what.
Right. Yeah.
That's not what this is.
No. So for me, it was not. I was not cool with having the blood actually in the oil, just because the oil is so active and fresh. So having fresh blood just hanging about, not cool. Not for me. For me, I did the blood magic tonight, and I put the blood into the candle. But the actual spell will not take place until later. So I had to build the structure before I could do the spell. I had to have the candle in place to then do the spell work with. So tonight, in making the candle, yes, that was blood magic, but it wasn't the actual magic. So I was creating the candle, and there was blood magic involved with that. But it's, for me, when I actually charge the candle and put the intention into it, that's when I feel like it's really going to come alive.
I think that it's actually two pieces.
It is. It's absolutely two pieces. The essence of it and the energy of it went into it tonight. That energy will then be released when I do the spell.
Right.
It's kind of two parts. So,
Both magical.
Both magical. So yes, tonight was blood magic, and I did put the blood into the candle. But the spell will not begin, I guess, for me, until I do the charging of the candle and lighting of the candle in the.
That's actually completing of the spell, kind of. The spell started tonight. It finishes on that.
Not for me. Tonight is kind of like laying the foundation, and then I will release it, and it will begin. Because mine is a healing and a continuous thing.
Right, but it began tonight.
Yes, but I haven't put it into motion yet. I have, but I haven't. I know it doesn't make sense. Just trust me.
Yeah.
So I'm building the foundation. I'm putting the parts together. But I haven't turned it on.
Right, because it's not completed.
Right.
Right, but it is started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it hasn't, I haven't actually set it into motion. I'm building the train. I'm setting it on the tracks. I haven't sent it on its way. That's the way it works for me.
No, I get what you do because I do the same thing. Just the wording makes no sense. I'm not even bullshit. I get what you're doing, but the wording just makes no damn sense.
Right, but see, for me, like, lighting the candle doesn't end my spell. Lighting the candle begins my spell.
Lighting the candle didn't begin the spell. Because you built this candle.
Right.
Magic went into the building of the candle.
Right, the magic went into the building of it. That's not my spell.
That's part of the spell.
That's the foundation of the spell.
Right, which is part of the spell.
Yeah, part of the
That
spell.
foundation of the house is still part of the house.
Right. So it's two different magical energies, I think.
Yes.
Like I had to impart the energy. So
Yes.
I imparted the energy and put the energy into it. So that is the magical working. Imparting the energy.
The creation.
There's
the creation and there's the use.
Yeah.
That's, I think,
Yeah.
where you're going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I've created it, but I haven't actually used it yet.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes a little more sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was magic into the creation, but then once I use it, that's when like the full power will kick in, I guess.
No, because it's just as powerful in the creation.
Yeah, it's just powerful going into the creation, but the way it activates is different.
It's dominant right now.
No, it's passive right now.
Yes.
It's accepting right now.
Yeah.
And then it will be projecting.
Okay.
It's receiving what I want it to do. It's receiving my energy. It's receiving the essence. It's receiving its job.
Right.
It's receiving its intention. When I do the spell, it will then perform.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So receiving versus projecting. It's receiving its data, and then it will project its duty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see it. Does that make more sense?
That makes more sense. Because like I said, I know exactly what you're doing because I do the same damn thing. It's just the words didn't make any sense, but that makes sense.
Are you sure? Okay.
And if you didn't understand that, go back, watch it a few more times. If not, just
skip it.
Skip it. Do what you do.
All right, so I think that's about all for today. I think we've covered as much as we can. Again, if you have any questions, leave it down below. There is a second part of this video that is nothing but bloopers. So what you're seeing right now is highly edited. I haven't edited it yet. I just know it's going to be highly edited. So I've tried to condense it down as much as I possibly can and keep it about the topic of blood magic and the spell that we're doing tonight. There's a lot of random shit that took place in between, all of that.
Because there's serious and then there's not serious.
Yeah.
And with all the serious, it's about the balance. You can't have a subject like blood magic and the depth and that is without also having
the jovial
side. Because again, it's balance. So you get both.
Yeah, you get both. So for this video, I've tried to kind of condense it down, keep it on topic, share the spell, share the process, and have that be its own video. But I don't even know how long it's going to be. I'm going to assume what did you just do?
Nothing.
I'm going to assume it's going to be a fairly long video of random outtakes, bloopers, other stupid shit. That really had nothing to do. I mean, it had everything to do with this video, but it had nothing to do with this video. So if you want to see that, what did we say it was going to be called? The shit that didn't happen or some shit. I will link it in the comments down below because I'm going to upload them both on the same day. So you've got the blood magic video and then all the other
shit we were supposed to talk about?
The shit we were supposed to talk about or something like, it's going to be titled something along those lines. But it will be linked down below as well. So if you want to hang out with us and see the stupidity and chaos and craziness that is just us hanging out, then...
And we didn't even leave the house.
Yeah, we didn't even have wine tonight.
No.
Damn.
It's because we drank it all last night.
That's true. So if you want to catch all of the other random crap that did not make it on this video, it'll be linked down below. Again, it could be an hour long. I have no idea. And there will be parts, I do know for a fact, there will be parts where we're not even on camera and you just hear bits of pieces of conversation in the background. So if you want to check out that hilarity, check out the link below. So again, if you have any questions, or if there are topics that you want to see us talk about, or if there are topics
you talk about,
if you'd like to get both perspectives on things, Vicki comes up about once every month, every other month or so. So if there are topics that you want to see us discuss together,
good luck.
Then leave the comment and say, yeah, I'd love to see you both talk about that, or Edie, could you talk about that if you just want to see me talk about it. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us today. I had a really good time. I hope you enjoyed the topic.
It's been really awesome.
It was. Yeah. It was a really good time. Yeah. If you want to see more videos with Vicki, then leave a comment down below.
No promises.
So that I can talk her into more videos.
That's about how that's going to go.
Let us know how much you love her. So that is it for today. Stick around if you want to see at the end of this video the making of the candle and the anointing oil and the ingredients and how that process went down. And then if you want to see the blooper video, the link will be down below. All the other links for the places that you can find me, such as Facebook and Instagram and my website, which is I think it's still up. I don't know, whatever. Those other places are linked down below. Not that I spend a whole hell of a lot of time there, but linked down below. So, yeah, that's it. That's it for today. Yep.
Bell. You forgot to tell them about the bell.
Oh, yeah. If you like what I do here, don't forget to hit the little subscribe button. That way you don't miss anything. And then click the little bell. That way you get the notifications from YouTube letting you know I've uploaded a video.
Ding, ding.
They come straight to your inbox, and then that way you don't miss anything. Thanks for the sound effects. Thanks for hanging out with me today.
Always. It's always an adventure.
It is always an adventure. Thank you all so much for being here. Remember, you are fierce, you are fabulous, and you are fucking badass. So keep that shit up, and I'll see you next time. Mwah. Bye!
Doing skimmer-rinky-dinky-dink.
What?
Skimmer-rinky-dinky-dink, skimmer-rinky-doo.
You know I know that differently.
How do you know that? What do you know it as?
Oh, God, I'm getting ready to call somebody out on YouTube.
Oh, fuck.
So, I don't remember who it was, but when we were in middle school or high school, somebody that we knew had a crush on Lincoln Michoud. Did you know him?
Was he in school with us, or?
He was in school with me and Angela.
You guys were a couple years above me.
Yeah, I know. So, I don't know if you knew him or not. I think we were in high school at this point. Anyway, whoever the girl was had a crush on Lincoln. And so, she would always sing. Every time she saw him, she would sing. But she didn't do the little hand movement. She would sing, skin-a-rinky-dinky-dink, skin-a-rinky-doo. I love Lincoln Michoud. That's the only way I know that song.
It's from Lamb Chop.
The little fucking sock puppet? Mm-hmm. Is that right? Lamb Chop? I don't know that song, though.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, later. Bye.